those keys. Gracias. How are you? De nada. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I do appreciate it. Are we having visual above me? Yeah. Great. So,
to dim the lights or
I don't think we should dim the lights because then everyone's sleepy.
Yeah.
Right? Can you see it okay?
I can.
You sure? Hi. Okay. Hi. What is that? And then if we could do the door so the noise stays out there. Thank you for coming, everyone. Those of you who I know or know a little, welcome back. Those that I don't know, welcome back. My name is Hector, and I'm sharing with you the summary of a 12-week course today. Okay, and I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks before we dive into a really heavy but magnificent topic in April. So between now and April, our job is to just recap or review, or if it's your first time, get a taste of some of the deep philosophical concepts that instead of being heady, become heartfelt and vibrant in our day-to-day existence, so they become useful for us experiencing life on this planet, not like every other being, in cycles of ups and downs and the rest, but to actually give you back some power in the depth of your awareness to be in control of your consciousness, yeah, and realize that you have complete power over how this magnificent play we call life happens to you. Yeah, you're not at somebody else's whim. You're at your own whim, but it's not like we think it is. Okay, so my job today is to share a summary for those who have done this before, a review. For those that haven't, just to get a taste, and you'll have tons of questions hopefully in your head. I won't answer any of them because my job is really to tease you to find your own answer. Yeah? There's a difference when someone says to you, hi. Who's been to Buenos Aires, Argentina? Anyone? Damn it. Who's been to to Brooklyn? Who's climbed to the top of Machu Picchu? Damn it. Who's been to the top of Huayna Picchu, which is behind Machu Picchu? No? Yay. Okay, here we go. Have you all seen a picture of Machu Picchu? Yeah. Do you know where it is on the planet? Have you seen how beautifully lush it is? Did you know that the Spanish never got there? Right. And then when they did discover it, many years after, like in this century, there was no one there. It was just a few skeletons. But the Spanish never got there. So where did these people go? How come? There are a couple of people sort of squatting in Machu Picchu. And that beautiful bun-like mountain behind it is called Huayna Picchu. And at the top of that, or behind it, is this temple to the moon. But on top of it, carved out of the tip of the rock, is this throne, which looks down over Machu Picchu. And it's the most stunning 360 view I have never had a taste, like sitting awake, not in meditation, looking at nature, at the planet we're in. I've never had such a strong, powerful, I've touched God, or whatever you call that thing, until I saw this thing in front of me, 360, the peak of the Andes. Entire civilizations come and gone, right there. And I'm sitting on this throne. Me, my dad at the age of 64, and this Greek monk who just the three of us happened to be up there. The reason I'm telling you the story is you've got an image in your mind about what that is like, right? But have you been there? Do you know what it's like to sit there? There's a very big difference between having to listen to your dad for 4 hours climbing this thing and having that personal experience of climbing one, a picture in the rain. And then hearing the Greek monk chanting on his way up, and you having this experience. It's very different. It's very different having the experience and me thinking I'm going to have that experience. And to add insult to injury, it's different again for me to tell you the experience and not be in it. So my job is really to show you the roadmaps the signposts that have been placed by deep practitioners of understanding reality in this planet and your consciousness in relation to it. The Tibetan tradition is thousands of years old. There's signposts guiding us, maps, stories about getting to the top of Huayna Picchu or whatever it is. But you need to do the trek. You need to know what it's like to slide in the mud and watch your old dad nearly, pass out because he's trying to prove that he's not old. Which was awesome at 64, He's like, it's hurting. I'm like, Dad, if you don't use it, you lose it. He goes, I will try. You understand what I'm saying? There's a huge difference between you learning something, getting information in your head, which you need. Yeah, I needed to know how to get the train to there or to walk the Inca Trail and blah, blah, blah. I needed to know those things. But then when you're there, the experience is vibrant, alive, and a reality none like you imagined. You have to be present. This is true of all these practices. We've got thousands of years of wisdom that we're passing down in this room, from masters all the way back to the Buddha. Master Kamalashila. In the Middle Ages, you got Master Tsongkhapa, and you got Vasubandhu, and all these people we've never heard of before. They're beings like you and I who were born human and then did something to the way they experienced the world and transcended some reality and then left some maps for you at the moment, and all those that connected to that before. So I'd like to bring that awareness to the class today, because my job is to share this, and you need to connect them to how does that make sense for the experience I'm having of life. Sometimes our life, the life we're building here, I'm an old guy, okay, so I've lived a few lives already. I've lived quite a few lives here. I was the corporate person, I was the hippie, I was the activist, I was the, I'm doing all these things. And in all these lives, they move on, they change. There's something in my awareness that stayed. The thing that stayed can serve you in a way to turn upside down what seems, turn right side up what seems upside down. Yeah? There's a way of looking and being in this world that can really transform right now. Nirvana is right now somewhere here. But something's blocking us from experiencing it. There's something in our way of being that we say we're building this life this way, or even when we get into a philosophical life or a spiritual life or a yoga life or whatever you call your life, might be too small. Reality is massively abundant. One of the experiences of an enlightened being, a Buddha, an awakened person, is that they can have a direct experience of all things. So living on this planet, me getting my job and having my identity might be too small. So I invite you in the next hour or two to touch a little deeper, yeah? Hopefully you're all going to be old someday. And then after that, you know, we think old people are somehow always old. You know, the reality is they were 20 and they danced. You know, and they loved, and they had hopes, and they had entire careers. All these old people in nursing homes, they had entire lives, full, rich lives. They ate yummy food. You know, they kissed passionately. You know, and then we look at them and they're just these old people in the nursing home. If you're lucky, you'll get there. Hopefully you do. But what's in your mind can live that experience in a way that is completely blissful and beyond. So my job is to do that. Yeah, that's a nice intro, I think. Here we go. For those of you who haven't been here before, we do a couple of rituals. So you saw me doing the whole bow down to the cushion thing. That's to try and keep me humble and realize I'm not to add any of Hector's ideas to the Buddha's ideas. So my job is to try and keep my analogies I can share with you, but the teachings are not mine. They're not my teachers, and they're not my teachers' teachers. They can be traced back all the way through recorded lineage all the way to the Buddha. And that's important. Then we begin by doing a couple of rituals, which is we try and set our intention, which I'll hopefully just try to do with us together. And then we do a kind of offering to beings who have already been evolved, who have already reached a state of enlightenment, teachers of yours. You make offerings to them saying, please, whatever teaches me, come now and help me. And it could be some aspect of your mind. It could be a real teacher. It could be something. And then we do this taking refuge thing. So I'm going to, for those of you that know it, you can do it. If you don't know it, all you have to do is maybe read the English verse and see the motivation here. This is before every teaching. Javier.
Sashi
Kukia Jishin Metotram Rira Linshin Indegam Padi Sangye Shindu Miteguargi Drokun Nanda Shingla Jubarsho Hidam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami
Sangye
Shudam Zoki Chognamna Jamshu Bardu Dakni Gapsuchi Daki Jinyen Gipe Sonamki Drola Benjir Sangye Drupasho
Sangye
Shudam Zoki Jognamna Jamshu Bardu Dakni Gapsuchi Daki Jinyen Gipe Sonamki Drola Benjir Sangye Drupasho
Sangye
Shudam Zoki Jognamna Jamshu Bardu Dakni Gyapsuchi Daki Jinyen Gipe Sonamki Drola Benjir Sangye Drupasho.
Okay, usually we do a little meditation, but because today I'm going to talk about meditation, we're not doing it. We covered 2 courses so far. We talked about the 3 principal paths, which is a 12-week course that says there are 3 core states of mind that a human being develops on their path to enlightenment. There are 3 parts of you that need to get on steroids before you can flip that mind and turn the upside down world into a right way up world. You're not going anywhere to get enlightened, okay? These eyeballs, if you're lucky enough, will see the world differently. These ears will hear the world differently. The world will seem to have changed, but the interpreter of these things, your consciousness, will do a shift on its way to enlightenment, and all of a sudden, every tactile thing, every sound will be on fire with wisdom. And that is the steps to enlightenment. And the first course we did is we looked at an umbrella view of a Buddhist path. And I wish we didn't have to say Buddhist path, but I have to teach it from the Buddha. It means a human mind, a human being has the capacity to transcend this experience. And to do that, you need to develop something inside your mind. And the 3 states of mind, who can remember those before I move on? Renunciation, this kind of fed upness about the world being upside down, having a glitch in it so often that you, after a while, hopefully not when you get too old, hopefully early enough, you get a punch in the gut, enough about getting some renunciation about something's odd about this world, and I don't want it to be like this. There could be a different way of being. Yeah? Your mind instantly, when you get punched in the gut, when you get some realization of true suffering, yeah, it goes for some kind of refuge. It goes for shelter somewhere. It says, what should I do? What can protect me? You know? And there's all these modes we go into when things happen to us that we don't like, or things that we like happening to us stop happening to us. Yeah, what we have that we really like begins to disintegrate. This will happen to everything. And the things that we don't like keep getting closer and closer. Like loss of hair, like gut. Being facetious, but also being truthful. Yeah. Perfect relationship, not so perfect. She wasn't supposed to say that, or he wasn't supposed to say that. Yeah, and all of a sudden the glitch begins to happen, and you can become habitual, settling for, like, oh, that's the way it is, I'll just settle. Life is supposed to be a little bit shitty, and I'll just put up with it. Or you can be a little bit of a rebel and say, is that true? If I've had one instance of complete bliss in my life, and I find the true cause, could I not maintain that? Could I not reproduce that? Right? So the first course we looked at these 3 principal paths, which are renunciation, you get fed up. But what happens after you get fed up and you begin to look and engage with life in a way that hopefully wakes you up? What's the next path? Which is? Yeah, so you get this wish, right? You get this fire burning in your heart, and you say, I want to wake up. But you don't do it just for you. You look around you and like, oh my goodness, we're all asleep. I was talking to a long-term practitioner the other day, a person I revere, yeah, a person that taught me a lot early on. And I'm like, how are you? Always expecting the perfect answer. And they say, we are in a cesspool of shit. I'm actually not too good at the moment. I'm like, wow. He goes, but it's good. It's given me some re-energizing renunciation. So the view on experiencing suffering begins to change, and you see it different. You see it as a ladder out of the bucket. Yeah. So the second state of mind that we develop is, I really want to stop suffering. And you begin to believe that there is a way out of suffering. You begin to investigate and see this. And then your motivation for doing that activity of seeking to get out of suffering is not just for you. You begin to realize everyone around me is going through these things. We're going through ups and downs. And when I'm up, I don't think about stopping suffering because I like the ice cream or I like the, right? But when the ice cream finishes, I think about the ice cream. That everyone is the same. So here's my friend, they're on a high. After a while, you see when they get low, they need something. And you wish you could figure this out for the sake of them. Your mom, your sister, and your brother. And eventually you grow that motivation to include any moving creature on this planet. So that's the second part. And the third part, state of mind you begin to develop.
Correct.
Correct view, correct view. I used to hate that when I heard it. It's incorrect view, now it's correct view, you know? It's like, what the hell? It's a synonym for wisdom. What if everything that ever happened to you, ever, good and bad, you misunderstood? And what if one moment of viewing your existence correctly, one moment of turning the upside down right way up, made you truly experience all your past, good and bad, as sublime? One change, all of existence. So the third path is developing this wisdom in your mind, this understanding of how things function, that is not the way we're used to. It's like, oh, it took me years to get out of a state of mind that saw things out there physically separate from me. Years of training, hesitant training. And in those years, you still have to work, and you still have to go to poop, and you still eat, and you still have to do all the things you need to do. And then it begins to happen where you start understanding what you thought you understood before. You thought you knew some of this philosophy, and then something, just a moment, pops into your head, and things go like this for a second. And you're like, oh. And it feeds you for 10 years. Or 5 years, and then we're on the world, and so there is a thing, and it's not out there, and it's not in the books or in the transactions. There's something inside you that flips when view becomes correct. Correct meaning in alignment with truth. And the big course we're going to teach in April is all about logically getting to that truth, meaning how do things truly exist? Because it's not the way they appear. And if we understood that, we would engage with things in accordance to the way they are rather than the way they appear to these human eyes and nose and things. We will relate to them in the way they are, and therefore plant the true causes for an effect that is correct, versus being mistaken about the way things are, acting in a mistaken way, and getting a mistaken result that breaks down. And that is what's producing suffering for us. I don't know if that makes any sense, or I'm talking weird. Am I talking weird?
Well,
It's making sense, and I'm talking weird.
Yes.
Well, it seems to me you're a weird bunch of people, and that's nice. So the first course gave us an umbrella that, hey, people, develop these 3 states of mind. Don't settle. Don't think that because you've got it good, things are always going to stay good. You're going to be old. Remember you danced. Yeah? There is a way to always be in dance mode. State number 2. You can make that change to transcend the current state of ups and downs. Don't just do it for yourself. Get that wish and apply it to everyone else. Because this will really fast track your exit from suffering. Not from the world, right? These eyes could experience nirvana. This skin could experience nirvana. That one, the one sitting right there. It's not something you're going to do tomorrow. Yeah? But if you've got a semi-comfortable life in lovely New York, you're thinking, maybe I can do it tomorrow. So the second course we covered is all about, well, what happens once you get this wish, right? And you think, what's protection? What is refuge? What is Buddhist refuge? Protection. And that is really understanding this thing called emptiness. Yeah, and how does that apply? So who understands emptiness? Come on. Who understands emptiness?
I like to think that I will someday.
That's full, that's not empty. Damn it. It's going to do a joke. Intellectually, if you've been to this class once, you all understand emptiness. Okay? So who understands emptiness? Good. Thank you. Intellectually, yeah. You know there is a place called Machu Picchu. Yeah? You've seen pictures of it. Someone sent you a telegram or a pager. Hey, I found this place called Machu Picchu. So you got the page about it, and you formed a mental image about Machu Picchu on the way there. So you know Machu Picchu. Yeah. Are you sure it exists? This is the big struggle. This is a problem. If you're really trying to get to Machu Picchu and it's a problem. But you can fix the problem, okay? What if someone's come back from Machu Picchu and told you all about it? Do you get a little bit more certain about Machu Picchu being there rather than getting the pager? Yeah. Didn't we used to do? I never really got into pagers, but I had to have one for work. It's a pager is a pretext.
Pre-cell phone.
Pre-cell phone. It's a little box. Doctors used to have them attached, and it would bzz, 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 and then people began writing code, like abbreviations to mean things. I never got into this.
Sounds very impractical.
It sounds very 80s. Yeah. So if someone's been to Machu Picchu, you have a stronger certainty that it exists, right? What if they showed you relics from over there? What if so in your mind, it's still in your mind, you've never been. It's still in your mind, but somehow the certainty gets closer and closer. At some point you need to make the trip if you really want to have the direct experience of Machu Picchu. Yeah. This is the same for what we taught in ACI 2, Buddhist refuge. At the core of every single experience, every single object, physical object, mental object, to divide the world into two. Yeah? Everything you can see, taste, touch, feel, everything physical, and then everything internal. Every state of mind, every moment of depression, every moment of joy, every thought of being me, every internal experience and every external, connected to that, attached to that experience, there's this thing called emptiness, which isn't a thing at all. It's a lack of a thing that isn't there, just to mix it up for you. But to put it simply, it's easy, so easy we miss it, okay? We try to overcomplicate things. We have the impulse to believe that the world is the way it appears to us. So I'm saying words with my voice, right? You're hearing words. You're not sitting there analyzing whether the words have self-existent meaning, does the inflection on the E, you don't sit there, you just hear words and you're internalizing it. We're designed, human machines are designed to take that in and interpret and interact with words. And then some words have meaning. Poo. You know, all of you had a lovely picture in your head. Welcome. Was it the poo on the phone that's got the two eyes? Was it that one?
That's the one in South.
What's that?
Sing.
You've seen that one? Now it is. Now it is. But see how quickly that works, you know? Unicorn poo. You know, so now it's rainbow. What's that thing you bought?
The squatty potty?
The squatty potty? Who knows the squatty potty?
No
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. Who's seen the ad? Yeah.
Well,
So now you've got a strong. Now you've got a strong visual of rainbow poo. It died.
No, you don't have
I don't have any poo there. Yeah, sorry. But what I'm trying to say is, my words carry meaning for you, and you just created all these mental images. Yeah, they were funny, except for yours, which wasn't at all. Yeah.
Too much medical experience.
Sorry. Where did that come from? Did they come from the sounds I made? We think it is, right? We take it in like that and we go, yep, he said poo, I had a picture of poo. Hector made me think poo. And then we went more specific to the phone poo, and then the unicorn poo, and you all had some mental image of that, even if you've never seen the unicorn commercial. Yeah. Where did that come from? Those images, that conglomerate of information you pieced together in your mind. Did they come from my voice? It seems so. It seems that way. Apparently so. Apparent reality. Apparently so. But under analysis, you cannot find one iota of any of your images or all the sensations related to that image, whether it was repulsion or laughing or whatever. You cannot find one tiny amount of that experience you had in these sounds. Not one. And the proof is, some other being walking in here, we always use the example of a dog, hearing the same sound. Poo. Now, unless it's a well-trained dog. Maybe I'll use a different example. Unicorn poo. That being, which is conscious, aware, can hear, can act, has mental experiences, I can almost guarantee they did not have the same image we shared or the same sensation. Yeah? They might have heard boo. Oh, he wants to play. Different thing occurred in their mind with this stimuli. Stimuli, oh. Response. You all had the same. Why did you have yours? Big question. Why did they have theirs? Big questions. I say it to babies. Different things. Again, wrong example. Emptiness just means in the sounds, in the ups and downs, there is none of those images or sensations you had. It is empty of having that quality. These sounds, this word, is empty of having the quality that you ascribe to it. But we couldn't function if we had to think about that all the time. Yeah? Under analysis, there is not a single thing in our existence, no physical nor mental, that has any nature of its own inside it. It is all being interpreted by your consciousnesses, just like we just did this example. Then the question that the antes go up, where the hell did these images come from? Why did I have these and they have theirs? That's a different question. But now we're talking emptiness. There is not an iota of substance in the words I'm using that could possibly force those experiences. Didn't come from these. My sounds are empty of having those qualities. But I did experience them. Correct, you did. You did have those experiences. This doesn't mean you didn't have the experiences, which is one of mistakes when we start understanding emptiness. Understanding emptiness will open up the world ready to turn the upside down right way up. Why? Because if it's true that a sound does not have inherently in it the capacity to force a reaction just like the one you had or the dog had, and yet in relation to a sound, a being can hear, oh, he wants to play, and a being can hear, that's disgusting, and a being can hear, that's awesome, let's play, that's funny, right? Then every single object in existence has the full potential to be absolutely anything magnificent. Do you understand the link? If there's nothing in, if things are empty of being the way they appear, then they can be anything. Then the question is different. How the hell do I figure out how my mind can project onto data, like in this case sound, yeah? Bliss. Because if I can do it once, I can do it twice. If I can do it twice, I can do it 4 times. If I can do it now, the idea of time is also a projection. Then I can do it for eternity. Ouch. Freedom, instant, available to your consciousness as easily as a little iPhone poo occurs in your head. You just got to find the code that made that little poo. That makes sense? So that's not even the class today. That's some of the things we covered. We can go home though.
That was an hors d'oeuvre.
Hors d'oeuvre. So understand that these things relate to your existence. When I'm using these words or you're all living some kind of life right now, and hopefully some of them are nice and you're writing some nice moments. I can also tell you, you're probably writing some dark moments too. Let's not look at those, right? All these moments, the good and the not so good, are all opportunities for you to find that flip. And you can find it. It's just training. And when you find the flip, they stop being good or bad like that. Everything becomes incredible potential. And so you're sitting in a work meeting and it looks like it's going downhill, or you're about to get fired. We had to fire somebody the other day and I thought it was going to be uncomfortable. It was the easiest thing we had to do. Every moment that you're experiencing, good or bad, has the opportunity for you to find the flip. And in that practice, everything will begin to flip. Now, it's one thing to talk about it, like the trip to Machu Picchu. It's another thing to make the trip. It's hard to either gather the money to get a flight and then walk, or to walk down there. There's obstacles on the way. I can tell you that if you take the train to the base of Machu Picchu, there is one cart just on the train just for tourists, because things will be stolen from you in all the other carts. Yeah, they tell you about this. What they didn't tell you is that that just makes all the targets in one place. Yeah. So everybody targets that one cart. So they jump onto the windows and they grab your wallet and they're like, what happened? And then you're all looking at someone taking that wallet, but then they're taking your wallet. It was awesome. It was just 1 millisecond, 100 hands anytime. And we were just like set up. All the tourists. No, we thought the guard was in on it actually. Anyway, that was fun. Because everybody got there with no money. You still have to make the trip. Yeah, and I can't do that for you. Buddha can't do that for you. Sister can't do that for you. Grandpa can't do that for you. And this becomes a heavy burden if you have a tendency to be depressed, or it becomes an awesome opportunity if you think you can do everything. Yeah? And in both those cases, you'll have a few struggles. In both those cases, it doesn't matter. Yeah? So, understanding emptiness is at the core of all these things. And secondly, is understanding the opposite side of emptiness, which is dependent origination arising, or karma, the way things appear. The reason that image came into your mind, why your coding was different to her coding, why the dog's coding is different to yours. What is it that's forcing this perceptions in us. You didn't choose it. You didn't sit there and choose it. You know. So understanding that is coming. But at this point in our study, we begin to say, you can touch these ideas of how the world is appearing, but how it's truly functioning. What's the relative reality and what's the ultimate reality that we're living in? Intellectually, you got that example, right? Is that yes or no? Yeah. But can you live it? Can you go to work the next moment when someone really bothers you at work and say, this is empty? No, you'll be caught in the whirlpool of action and reaction. Yeah? Understanding emptiness can unlock you from the whirlpool, but you still have to live the whirlpool at that moment while you're learning. This is the path. This is why it's called practice, not you've done it or whatever they would call it if it's not practiced. What would it be called if it's not practicing? It's like you did it or doing it. Anyway, so today's course is applied meditation, and the rest are coming. Yeah. I'm going to show you the roadmap to a good meditation practice. I'm not teaching you to meditate today. Yeah, I'm grabbing the essence of this course, which is 12 weeks, the texts from all the masters that have gone into depths of consciousness to try and unlock the way existence appears, and then the way it truly is, and give you some signposts along the way of getting to a point of insight, yeah, of getting to a point of meditation. So we're doing ACI 3 today. Any questions? We covered that, why do it, some of the background, the essence, and then practice. Samsara. Someone tell me what samsara is. Samsara.
Or afflicted thoughts and emotions and patterns, habits.
Tell me with confidence. Afflicted states of mind. Yeah, that's cool.
It's this cycle of rebirth and suffering.
Yeah, cool. Samsara is that picture there with the big red thing
That
holding
picture there.
the. I mean, that's one way of describing samsara. Yeah, but everything inside that cycle, gripped by the claws of impermanence and death, yeah, is really afflicted states of mind because we don't understand why things come and go. I was happy, I'm unhappy. I was young, I'm old. So, if what I said is true about things being empty of being a certain way in their own, we don't really live by that mode. But if we did, we would know how to add towards a world that would produce an enlightened experience. Because we're dealing with correct causes, with the real world, not the appearance world. Yeah? We're dealing with a world based on our human limitations, and we're going to produce a limited experience of this world. And that limited experience can break. It's not the way things are, the way we see them. Meditation, understanding how your mind engages with reality so fast, slowing it right down and catching how it produces suffering can free you really quickly from suffering in the moment. Because all you need to do is have one or two realizations in meditation, and then it doesn't matter if you're sitting in front of an angry boss or a crappy relationship or a hurting knee or whatever it is. Your mind has the tools because you've had realizations about the true nature of reality, not the appearance of reality, to actually transcend the bad knee, the bad relationship, or so on. You still have to go through the process, but the attachment to wanting it to turn out a certain way will disappear, and you'll have some wisdom to deal with it, and you won't create the causes for a similar thing to occur again and again and again. Those realizations cannot happen outside meditation. You can get some insights, but in meditation they sink deep into your being, and then you use that in daily life later on. Does that make sense? Yeah. So why what is it that produces samsara, right? So everything that's born here must end. Because always, as soon as we're born, we must end. Everything that begins must finish. We don't live by that code. We tend to think that I like this now, so it's going to stay this way. As soon as you said that, you're screwed. Because you're going to be disappointed. Yeah? So there's this lurking thing behind everything. And so do you remember in the Lamson Anson, the first course, the 4 fierce river currents? Remember that? What were they? The 4 fierce river currents. Think of your mothers chained up in a cage of pitch black suffering, chained up by the 4 fierce river currents. Remember that? 4 fierce river currents refer to birth, illness, aging, and death. Yeah? So, which must happen to all of us if we're lucky, except maybe sickness for some. Yeah? That people can debate that if they want to. They can be born really quickly, or aging maybe, and then get sick and die. The goal of really spending time with the only thing that can free you, which is your mind, the purpose of that is to hopefully get to the part of the mind that can see the upside down right way up before the coffin comes. Did I say that right? The point of a meditation practice is to realize the true way life exists here on this planet by touching the only part of you that can see that, which is the only part of you that is interpreting everything. It's your mind. You can live like a normal person here and die like a normal person here. Everyone has been doing that for a long time here. Over and over and over and over for millennia. Or you have the opportunity to investigate deeper at this brilliance, this light thing that is your consciousness, and see if there is anything more in there that can transcend these cycles of coming and going, life and death, over and over and over and over. And it really is available to you. It's not outside of you. You just need the map. Yeah. So before the coffin, hopefully you can do something like that. Yeah. So we talked about there's 5 paths that can get us to a deep realization of wisdom. Yeah, or the perfection of wisdom, which we talked about last class, Prajnaparamita. And we talked about methods for achieving nirvana, which was perfecting the teaching on wisdom, morality, and concentration. But also become extremely familiar with emptiness. Yeah? Do you remember the 5 paths? Yeah, so this is the roadmap, okay? Don't learn the roadmap and go, oh, I've got a roadmap. Don't do that. Don't get the page about Machu Picchu and go, oh, I'm in Machu Picchu. I need to remind you of this, right? Whatever you are doing in your life, this somehow relates to unlocking your life and making it incredible. It's not about the paths or learning the thing, although you have to learn it to see where the signposts are. Because when you get there, you go, oh, that's where I am. I'm not too far. Yeah? Or I've taken a wrong turn. I'm not in Peru. I'm in Bolivia. Yeah. He said Machu Picchu, not Titicaca. Okay. What's the first path? Accumulation. What does that mean?
It means that you start acting in a way that's going to produce results that help you along the path.
Great.
Gathering merit.
Gathering merit. Okay, what does this mean? Where did I say you experience the flip of everything. Where did I say you experience everything?
Mind.
Mind. Is there anything at all in your entire existence that you can be aware of that is not in your mind, not experienced in your mind?
Absolutely nothing.
Tell me one thing. Come on, just one thing. Find me one.
Somebody else's mind.
One you're perceiving right now?
No,
No, not
that
another
person
one.
is perceiving.
Is there anything at all outside your awareness of your mind? Think about it, right? They can't be, because as soon as you start thinking about it, it's there. Let's go to the edge of your known universe. All the stuff you haven't seen, behind your head. As soon as you begin imagining it, it's in your mind. It really is. Your entire world is in your entire experience of the world is at your fingertips. You're not going to get it out there somewhere. It's completely available to you right now. Nirvana, just a flip away. But how do I get there? Is a map. Don't get lost in the map, okay? Don't look at the page. Remember, it's just a map about you. So the first one is gathering merit, yeah? Or the path of accumulation. You're gathering enough positive mental energy, if you like, enough virtue, you said, positive karmas, states of mind that will force a positive experience. You're generating enough goodness in you to begin to produce goodness coming at you. Does that make sense?
And it's the 10 vows, the 10 freedom.
It can be the 10 freedom vows as a general rule, yeah? Protecting life, ensuring other people's relationships are kept precious, protecting other people's belongings, taking care of others. Bottom line, physically, mentally, verbally, yeah? So in essence, it's living this is where the beautiful link between morality and freedom happened. It's not because someone dictated, thou shalt be nice, okay? I said so, I have a beard. And I have fluffy clouds around me. No. It's not about that. You don't have to be nice because you have to be nice and I said so. You have to be nice because if things are blank and they echo back, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, they echo back your core intention, what you did towards the world. If you're doing nothing but good towards the world, it must produce a good experience. Where? In the only place you experience your world. In your consciousness. So the first part is where you're gathering enough internal energy, internal karmas, virtue, the hell you want to call it. I don't care. I need you to understand that it's you being awesome towards your world, kind, treating others as if they were you. That's a nice technique. Because if everyone was really you, really, yeah, you'd be taking care of them because you love you. We all do. You know, we all think I'm best. We do. You know, if a danger comes at us, most of us protect our bodies first. Yeah?
Not always.
Not always?
No.
Okay, tell me when we don't.
Like the mother who blocks the child.
Why?
What?
Why?
Because
She sees
she
them as
prioritizes the child.
it's mine. It's an extension of me.
What about
But
suicidal people?
But
What about them? Isn't it?
But not always.
You don't think that a mother that is protecting her child doesn't think, oh, I've got to protect this life that is precious to me. It's my
Right, it's precious to them, but it's not protecting themselves. Like, it's not putting yourself before others. It's putting the other first.
Why did that happen though? In particular to that mind. It's connected to mind, me and mind.
Right, yeah. But it's,
It's an extension. I'm saying we can all do that. I'm saying
Oh,
we
I
can
see
all
what
do
you're
that.
saying. Okay, sorry, I missed.
We just got to think of that person as my child and my sister and my brother, and all of a sudden we begin to naturally do these virtues.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
isn't that like similar to the meditate, right? Isn't there a meditation where you imagine that
Sure.
everyone
Yeah.
is
But the point I'm saying
Yeah.
is, uncontrolled, we tend to take care of us first.
Hmm.
Even in that example, if I
I see,
put
I
her
see.
child and another child's,
Right.
and both are at risk, who she'll go for?
Right.
Yeah. And your question was about suicide. I don't want to go there. Okay.
Sure.
Depressing. No, I do, but let's see if we can incorporate it later on.
No problem.
Cool.
Wait,
The
so-
first of the 5 paths, meaning in order to get anywhere close to Machu Picchu, which it's a metaphor now for enlightenment, nirvana, freedom. Yeah. You need to learn stuff. You need to be a good boy. Yeah. Or girl. Is that good? Is that fair? Yeah. You understand. The more you load the machine that is producing your reality with goodness, the more goodness will appear to it. Yeah? Until a special kind of goodness appears, which might be a path to freedom. Do you hear that? Did you hear what I'm saying? Out of all the goodnesses that you can experience, how about a direct map to Machu Picchu? Yeah? Do you think, if you really want to get there and you think that's where everything is, do you think all of a sudden a map to Machu Picchu with detailed instructions how to get there might be a good thing or not?
Sure.
Of course, right? It's one of the best things. If that's your goal, if that's your objective. Better than just ice cream. Ice cream might be nice and distracting. It's also a good thing. Yeah? A little kiss on the side might also be a good thing. But a whole map to Machu Picchu? A teaching to walk there? Beings that have been there? Remember, nothing has a nature of its own. Nothing is sitting out there. Every experience you're having is being produced by your consciousness. And it's real. So how about a map to Machu Picchu and beings who have been to Machu Picchu? This would be one of the ultimate goodnesses. Yeah? And so at that point, you might go from the path of accumulation, where you've accumulated some goodness inside your consciousness, to begin to produce the path of
Habituation.
Preparation.
Path of learning.
Preparation.
Preparation.
Which means you begin to get signs in your life that there is a way to Machu Picchu. And you could learn that way. This is one of the highest goodnesses that can occur to someone. And I'm not suggesting you all have to be Buddhists, okay? I'm saying you've had insights or beings in your life who have given your mind the possibility of freedom. Wow, my goodness. I can reach a state of peace. You began to think of it as a real possibility. So then this path is where you actually begin to delve into an understanding of how practically would that happen. Yeah, but that can't happen unless you have some kind of virtue producing that for you. So then the next path, which we did last time, do you remember this little thing? I just tried to use the Matrix moment where he like bends over and it's his reality, deconstruct and blah blah. Yeah.
This is Machu Picchu.
This is Machu Picchu. Yeah. You have a glimpse, a direct glimpse of Machu Picchu. Yeah. Boom. You know with certainty. Oh, I'm getting up at 8 in the morning. I'm going over there. I'm getting the train. No, it's going to feel this way because you've learned it so much. You can close your eyes and you're there.
Path of seeing.
Yeah, path of seeing. What this means in Eastern philosophical terms is that after generating enough virtue in your life, enough positivity, reducing negativity in your life, not harming beings, not having states of mind that are negative, there's a peace in your mind developing. Then you begin to learn the processes and the steps to enlightenment. You learn the texts, you practice in meditation, and you do all these things. At that point, after enough virtue has been built up and enough knowledge, you can flip into, only in a state of meditation, a direct experience of emptiness. Yeah? You have a visceral understanding that all these things you've been studying, all these words we've been sharing, are not just concepts in your head, they actually relate to a reality that is your experience. You completely disassociate from your me mind. You are immersed in ultimate existence. And it's all in meditation. And they say when you come out of that, then the world begins to appear in the fake way that it was appearing before, seeming that things come this way. Yeah, the word poo had that image in me. Yeah, when I see my boss, anger comes. No, it appears that way, but after you've had this state, you realize that it just appears that way. That's not the way it is. The way it is all these things are blank and available to be complete goodnesses or badnesses or whatever they are. And the only way that I'm experiencing each one and every one of them is the stuff in my consciousness producing it. And it's real. That's what makes it real. There's nothing solid in absolutely anything. And all of a sudden, you realize that you have direct access to Machu Picchu. You know what it's like to be there. With that understanding, you then begin what's called the path of habituation.
No more learning.
And then no more learning. Yeah. So you begin the path of habituation, meaning you habituate. Imagine you did see what I just described. Just for a second, imagine that every single experience you've ever had about an understanding about the world was upside down. And in one moment of deep meditation, no disturbances, pure crystal water of consciousness, in the depth of that, deep in the depth of that, you're not even aware you're in the depth of your mind. Every subtle movement of mind has settled, and you see unequivocally the nature of existence, which is there is no nature out there. Everything is being produced by my mind, and that's why things function the way they do. Imagine you truly saw that. And the way things appear are only echoes of what I've done in my world in the past. So whenever I've suffered, whenever I'm suffering, it's only because I have the code of suffering, because I've forced suffering on others. And whenever I'm joyous, it's only happening to me because of my kindnesses towards others. Imagine that in that moment, coming out of that moment, you make that realization. All of a sudden, you want to live your world in accord with that deep reality. Because the only way to have everything be blissful is to be blissful. The only way to get wisdom is to give wisdom. The only way to have abundance is to be generous. Not because someone said, but because you've experienced it in the depth of what produces this reality. Imagine that. Imagine you actually had that moment. You're in a deep state of meditation. You forget time and space. And when you come to, you realize you've had that. You would want to begin to habituate the true way things occur, meaning kindness for kindness, in everything you do. And that's why it's called the path of habituation, because you're walking around Fifth Avenue the next day, but the world is still coming at you through your senses from all the echoes of all the crappy things you've done before and all the crappy ways you've looked at the world before, which was the world is out there, I'm in here, this is me, that is you. That still needs to unravel. And so you need to habituate your mind to what you saw in that meditation. But once you've touched that, nothing can shake it. They say it's like you live in a world where you know it's fake, you realize it's appearing fake, yeah, but you're acting towards it in the way it truly exists. And so for the rest of the world, it looks like you're a little mad. Like I just yelled at you and I was angry at you and you were just kind. I'm like, what are you, retarded? You know? Why are you kind? I just yelled at you. But you know that the only way you can stop a yelling me is to be kind. With certainty, not maybe, with complete certainty. Then you own your life. not your echoes of you owning your life, which is really what's happening there. Yeah?
So I have a question.
I'll have the answer perfectly.
So did I create Donald Trump?
Yes, no, no, and yes, okay? Yeah, that's a great question. Damn it, I thought of that question today. Who does not identify with some of those shitty qualities? Sorry, Bertie. Who does? Call out the Trump supporter. No. Who do, I love you. What? Who does not identify with those qualities? Have you never been bigoted? Have you never been racist? Have you never been mean? Have you never been loudmouth? Have you never been miscontrolled? Have you never been selfish? Have you never been greedy?
Have you ever not had bad hair?
Judgment. Have you never, tell me you've never had those things. Someone, tell me. You're perfect. You're not mean. You're not racist. Tell me.
Throw the first stone.
Do you see what I'm saying? This, according to this view, yeah, if you're experiencing that person, I'm not even going to say it. Sorry.
That creates more of him.
No. Yeah. If you're experiencing that, if you're having that experience as a negative state, because some people are not, okay? Where did that come from? If all things are empty, yeah. Now the way you see that being is slightly different. Maybe we're a little aligned, right? Yeah, we don't like it. Yeah, a little aligned, but I bet you they're not exactly the same associations. Yeah, I bet you if we went list all the things you dislike and I list all the things I dislike, there might be a slightly different list. When you look at that list, you're looking at you. When I look at my list, I'm looking at me. Does that mean that's who you are right now?
No.
Right. Good. There's a delay in action and reaction. When you see a massive tree in the forest, did the seed that produced that tree finish just a second ago? No. Hundreds of years ago, the seed is gone. Your actions that produced a reaction, the seeds that produce your consciousness, your awareness of the world, those seeds, those echoes that we're living now, have long been planted. Yeah? And if they're ripening right now, the seed is no longer there. You're not that. Feel the echo of that. You can deduce, under this way of looking at the world, that you were bigoted, that you were mean, that you were racist, that you were all these things, whether you like it or not, according to this view. You're forced to understand that logically.
But it might not be to the same degree, right? So like.
Great awesomeness question. Of course not. Tiny seed, big result.
Yeah.
Yeah? Tiny racism, huge racism. The longer the time, the bigger the tree. Yeah? The tree will fall over. But before it falls over, if you don't get to the course of it, it will seed more seeds. Damn. And then more. And then more. Until you don't just have one person saying those things, you have a whole movement. Yeah? How to stop racism with this philosophy.
Love the racists.
No.
Self-righteousness.
Huh?
With kindness.
How to stop racism? Give me the specific correlation.
To not be
What's
racist.
racism?
Fear.
Seeing people different.
It's based on fear, right? Yeah. It's also a difference. It's a what? Divisive thought, right? Us and them. Okay. How do you stop racism?
Traveling.
Bring people together.
Did you say
Traveling.
traveling?
Kindness.
Kindness. Bring people together. Yeah. So here's the thing. When you see people being pulled apart, yeah, let's call that racism or sexism or ageism or whatever ism you want to call it. Yeah. Whenever you are personally having that experience, it means that a seed is ripening in you where you have done that to some lesser degree before. Under this understanding, if you no longer want that in your world, you must do the opposite. At that time, if possible, and you're touching fertile ground where racism is coming up. Yeah? So your old seeds of divisiveness are coming up. All of a sudden, you're in that part of your forest, of your consciousness. You should, at that point, understand that your sole job is to bring people together. It's the only way you can defeat that. Because if you start saying, you're wrong and I'm right, and trying that engagement, you've got the Middle East. You've got fight, punch for punch. Us and them. No, but you're wrong and I'm wrong. It's upside down. It's like, bring people together at whatever capacity you can. It must bring it up in your mind that you have the potential to see more racism if you don't. Yeah? So, advertising TED Talk, the TEDx talk where I talked about getting rid of the angry boss is exactly that. I can't stop a yelling person by yelling at them. I can just create more yelling persons by yelling at them under this philosophy. Why? Because the projection of what I'm experiencing can only happen if that experience is in my mind. And the only way I put that experience in my mind is doing or saying things or thinking things. Yeah? So doing and saying are obvious, and thinking is more subtle, right? I can sit there and go, I'm not racist. But I'm being racist, I'm divisive and so on. Or I can say, I'm not yelling at you. And in my mind, I'm like, you're such a, in my mind. That's, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The result is bigger than the cause. The longer these states of, imagine this is powerful. Every single thought you've ever had is inside you coded, ready to produce your reality. And every action and the motivation behind that action you've ever had is inside you coded, ready to produce a reality. And the longer it stayed there, the bigger your reality, or the more sustained your reality. Everything.
Both good and bad.
Both good and bad. And the boringness in between. Yeah? Cool.
Really quick technical question.
Yeah.
The three principal paths, do they exist as realizations within the path of preparation?
Oh, nice question.
Wait, do they exist within?
Inside as
Exist
realization.
realizations within the path
That's
of
really
preparation?
nice.
But doesn't correct view not exist within preparation? Or like it
No,
does,
you can
but-
have correct view in all those.
Right.
Yeah? Just at different degrees of integration. You can have
Right.
an intellectual understanding of emptiness. You
Right.
can have heard emptiness and not really have an intellectual understanding.
Right.
Then you have a visual understanding, and after that you still have to habituate it, so you don't have a fully
Right.
functioning understanding. Yeah. Yes and no, because if this was a Hinayana path, that you wouldn't have bodhicitta as the middle. Yeah. So.
Also renunciation, it's like different degrees of renunciation throughout the paths.
I would say, if I had to generalize it, okay, you'd get renunciation somewhere in there.
The realization.
A realization that, this way of dealing with the world is not the way I'm going to produce bliss. Yeah? And that might give you the fervor to study. It will also fuel your passion to get to the path of seeing, or the meditation that needs to happen. But it might also fuel the very first path, your kindness. I can't answer that question. Yeah. Okay, do you guys need a quick break? Is that a yes? Yes? Let's have a 10-minute break and then we'll come back to where all this came from. Thanks for listening, and I hope it's useful, and please don't think it's not.